All Christian organisations, churches, chapels, organisations like the Open Bible Trust should always have some concern for those people who are not as fortunate themselves, whether people in their own country or people in different countries. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Open Bible Trust Missionary Fund. It's actually used to send literature to third world countries, to ministers and church leaders, to ordinary people, and especially for setting up libraries in third world countries. We've also set up libraries or helped establish libraries or expanded libraries in prisons in Britain as well. So, we try to do the best we can in helping even those people who are not as fortunate as ourselves for various reasons to further their faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. Our first library was set up in Kenya on the east coast of Africa. And this was done really because the Reverend David Mwangi joined us on one of our Open Bible Trust holidays, and he said he had a vision for Kenya. And I always got a bit uncomfortable when people tell me they have visions. Never quite know what they're going to come out with. But this was a genuine idea that he had of true vision. He wanted libraries set up in Kenya. The Open Bible Trust has set up one in Kenya. But I think he has another 3 which other organizations have helped him with, which is very good. And here is his library here that we've set up. It's not a massive library, as you can see, but it contains practically all of the literature that we have published, plus other literature that we have sent in, Bibles and commentaries and concordances and whatever we have. So, it's very important. That may look very small as a library to people in Britain or America or Australia or somewhere like that, but this is a third world country, and that's just theological books. And in fact, I think there's more theological books there than there is in the theological section in my town library. The next library we set up was on the other side of Africa, on the west coast, in Ghana, near Accra. And that was set up in Set Times Baptist Church. That church is run by the pastor MacDouglas Ampadu, and here's a photograph of him and his family. He approached us, and we were very happy to do that. Now, the Open Bible Trust started in 1984, so in 2009 we celebrated 25 years, so we're much older than that now. And we believe in serving Christians and Christ. Basically serving Christ and Christians, I should say, at home and abroad. In 2009, our 25th year, we actually set up 3 new libraries. 2 were in Nigeria, 1 in a school and 1 in a church, and 1 in the Philippines. And in 2010 we set up another 2 libraries in Nigeria. We can only do these things if people help us. So if you want to help us, if you can help us, please, we'd appreciate it very much. You can go to our website, www.obt.org.uk, and you'll find donations there. Just click on the donations, and if you want a gift aid form, there's one on there that you can print off, or we will send you one. Thank you. So in 2009 we set up 2 libraries in Nigeria. One library was in a church, and here are the 3 main leaders of that church. And the other library was in a school. It was the Frontline Academy Primary School. And the person we work with there is the gentleman on the far left in the floral shirt you can see hanging over his trousers there. Yeah, maybe a style in Britain, but in places like Nigeria you need to do that to keep yourselves cool. Now, it's very interesting that one of the inner city schools in Reading, Prospect School in Reading, actually raised funds to help with this library at Frontline Academy. Prospect School shared the funds it raised on Red Nose Day between Comic Relief and the Open Bible Trust Missionary Fund, and we're very grateful to Prospect School for doing that and for helping us set up this library at Frontline Academy in Nigeria. There we worked with Natora Nakanta, who was a teacher at Frontline Academy. I think he's now been promoted to head teacher, actually. Anyway, the school has 180 children aged 5 to 12 in 5 classrooms, so about 36 to a teacher. So, that would be considered large in Britain, where the average tends to be 30, 32. But in Africa, in some third world countries, that's not a bad sized class, actually. The Open Bibles Trust work in setting up libraries in third world countries has been recognised and advertised by such bodies as the Women's World Day of Prayer. And in actual fact, they very kindly gave us a grant one year to help us with one of our libraries. I have also spoken about on Premier Christian Radio, and when David Mwangi was over here visiting us, he and I were interviewed on BBC Radio Berkshire about it. Inspire magazine did a series of articles in our 25th year, which featured our missionary fund, and there was also a leaflet in Woman Alive magazine. So we're grateful to all those people for helping us and recognizing what we are trying to do. We're not a grand, big organization, but Inspire described us in one of their articles on us as the little charity that's big on the Bible, and I think that's about right, actually. We also set up a new library in 2009 in the Philippines, out in the Far East. There we work with a group of people called the Handmaidens of God. And they worked with women in correctional and rehabilitation centres. And, their rehabilitation centres are not quite like ours. Here's one, basically a tent out in the countryside, trying to help people who have suffered from drugs or crime or violence or something like that, trying to help them get back on task and getting their lives together. Their work expanded more than they anticipated because obviously a lot of these women in correctional centres and rehabilitation centres are children, and so we see them here working with a group of children, and we have sent them quite a lot of actually children's Christian literature and a bit of educational literature too, because it's important for these children in countries like the Philippines to get a reasonable standard of reading and writing and arithmetic, as we used to say, and we've tried to help in that a bit. We've also recognized that many people, well, like the prodigal son, they do lots and lots of things wrong, and it isn't until they really hit the bottom that they come to their senses. The prodigal son came to his senses when he was working amongst pigs, which is terrible for a Jewish person. And many people in our country come to senses when they go to prison. And we had to send quite a bit of stuff to the library in Liverpool prison. Had good dealings with one of the privileged prisoners of Belmarsh prison who worked in the library, and we sent him lots of things. And we have sent various other prisons our materials, and also young offenders institutions we've sent some materials to. So we value that. We also supply materials to a variety of other works throughout the third world. Now, for example, let's talk about India and Emmanuel Abraham there. He runs 3 small churches in India. Now, one of the things that's impressed about Emmanuel is he has never boasted about bringing thousands of people to the Lord, because this is what you find sometimes with some of these people. They talk about how wonderful the Lord's been, and 5,000 have been saved here and 3,000 have been saved there, and this, that and the other, and we find Emmanuel very honest, and he sent us photographs here of the 3 of the churches that he runs, and you can see they're all fairly small churches, not a lot of people in them, and it's hard being a Christian in a country like India, which is dominated by Hinduism and also has a fair amount of Muslim, and then Christianity is really quite a minor religion, and these people we've tried to help a little bit by sending them some of our literature and some Bibles and things like that. In 2010 we set up 2 libraries in Nigeria again, working with a totally different group of people this time. This is the Christian Service Ministries, and what happened here was a Nigerian who's lived in Britain and for 20, 30 years, 40 years, and has worked here, is a Nigerian, and this is a work which is very dear to his heart, and he helped set it up, because although he's got residential and may even be a British citizen by now, I don't really know, he goes back to his home country every summer during his summer holiday and helps out there. And he asked us if we could help set up a couple of libraries for the Christian Service Ministry, one in Lagos State and one in Oyo State. And this is one of their meetings, and of course we're very happy to do that, and as I'm speaking now, we're in the process of doing that. So to do all this, we are dependent on gifts from people, and from fellow Christians, from people such as yourself. If you would like to send us a gift, you can send it to the Open Bible Trust, Fordland Mount, Upper Basildon, Reading, RG8 8LU, and you can just make your checks payable to the Open Bible Trust. We'll send you a gift aid form, but as I said, you can find the gift aid form on our website, www.obt.org.uk. You can even make your donations there by clicking on donations. And you can also send gifts to our agents in Australia, Canada, New Zealand and the USA. And the addresses are for Australia, BBFA Book Agency, PO Box, I can't read it very clearly, I think it's 3141 Glendale, New South Wales 2285, and make the checks payable to BBFA Book Agency. In Canada, you can send it to Lloyd Allen at 50 Moorcroft Crescent, Scarborough, Ontario, M1K 3V1. Just make your checks payable to Lloyd Allen. In New Zealand, you can send it to Graham Abbott at the Open Bible Trust, Box 11034, Hamilton, and just make checks payable to the Open Bible Trust. And in the USA, you can send it to Bible Search Publications Inc., 1025 Post Road, Brookfield, Wisconsin 53005. But as I say, no matter where you are in the world, actually, you can visit our website, www.obt.org.uk, and you can make a donation. You'll be charged in your currency, but they will give us the donation in pound sterling, and we will use it for the benefit of those people who are far worse off than we are. So thank you for listening, and may God bless you.